Yes, please, sir. It's all.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, a big thank you to Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. I think it's always a pleasure and privilege to come to these bodies of eminence, and more importantly, speak to people who actually are the practitioners themselves. It's always a great feeling to speak, as a practitioner to a practitioner. So thank you so much for, inviting me here. On behalf of Accenture also, I thank you for inviting us to be here amongst you professionals. I also want to extend my thanks to Raman Jokakar. He's a colleague of mine in the sense that we both sit on the Management Council of the Forum of Free Enterprise. And that's where we met, and he thought that this would be a good body. So thank you, Raman, for connecting me to Mr. Chirag Doshi. And thank you, Mr. Doshi, for having me here today. So today, right, Mr. Doshi laid a fantastic foundation, I must say, to this conversation that we plan to have today. It will be sort of a monologue to begin with, but I will request you to, kind of shoot a lot of questions and also share your commentary. I'm sure because you're practitioners, CA is not an easy exam to pass, so your IQ levels are very high. I'm sure about that. So I'm sure, a practitioner with a high IQ level gets across, with very interesting, wise questions, and I'll be very, very happy to take some of them. But at the same time, in case you have experienced the metaverse, if you have been to an event in the metaverse, it will be fantastic during the Q&A session if you would want to share your experiences too. So as I always believe, it's a two-way traffic. I probably have some insight into this field, but I'm quite sure people sitting on the other side are equally wise and have, experienced the metaverse. So with that, let me just begin with my, kind of few set of slides which I have. I'm going to use these slides more as to share with you, what Accenture's perspective is on the metaverse and what we believe the metaverse is all about. And more importantly, what is the value at stake in the metaverse in terms of, where is the value lying, right? The whole point is everybody throws these trillion-dollar numbers about new technologies and new platforms and every new thing that comes in. The point always is all these trillions of dollars which keep on lying in our paper, where do they actually hide, right? We need to know that. And that's where the lecture would focus on. And then, of course, we will also try and talk about where companies are going, what are they doing. So you'll see a lot of this kind of interesting insights coming through this presentation today. And I just take you now through the presentation. So let's begin. So essentially, what is the metaverse, right? And so what is Accenture's perspective on the metaverse? And this is something which is very interesting. So till now, right, if you asked anybody, what do you do in the internet? So the common verb that people use to say, I browse the internet, right? That is the common verb. And browsing by the perspective or by the virtue of its meaning, right, in Oxford or any other dictionary that you would want to, is about just being there, right? It's about being there. It's about kind of going from one page to the other and, just checking data, checking things, etc. So a lot of this is, kind of was browsing. And we were doing a lot of browsing of, of the internet till now. But now what we are seeing is that because of the combination of technologies that Mr. Doshi mentioned, which is augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, right? Even for that matter, blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of these technologies that have come in the digital domain over the last decade or so. Essentially now, from a browsing experience, you can now start participating and inhabiting, in the internet. You can inhabit basically the internet and essentially start sharing persistent experiences which are virtual in a fully virtual world and which allow you to blend the virtual with the physical. And that is something which is enormous, right? Imagine that you are just seeing a video till now and you are possibly recording and maybe even being a part of the video maybe, but now it's not that. You're going to inhabit. And when I say inhabit, It's a very, very important word. Why? Because of the fact that you will now be living there. You will now be with the community there. You will be enjoying an experience there. You will be making a payment for that. And you will also be devising an experience of which others can be a part of. Right? And that is what is being as participating and inhabiting. That's like the fundamental difference between the metaverse and the version of the internet that we have now. Till now, you were just browsing. You were more or less, kind of external to it. But now you're going to be a part of it, sharing experiences, building experiences, experiencing it with others virtually, and then exchanging even those experiences either through barter or even at a price. And this is where what we, kind of as Accenture therefore believe, essentially the metaverse therefore comprises of a range of vert realities is what we say. And this vert realities is basically the virtual reality as well as the physical reality. And of course, you're not going to live only with one experience in the metaverse. It's going to be like a spectrum of experiences. And the reason why this is, kind of now coming to the next part, the next part of it is that when we really think about the metaverse, right? And this is the way even all of us progress. So when we were born, and because we are with our physical existence on Mother Earth, right? We always kind of think about what is it that we want to do here? And what is it that will allow us to do here? So naturally, when you were born, and if you're a farmer, you got the soil to till as kind of, because you're a son of a farmer or a daughter of a farmer, you got soil to till. If you're with a business or if you're with a trader, naturally, you kind of got an opportunity to start trading, etc. You got educated, you started working, you started practicing your profession, and then what? You started getting fees for it. You started using those fees to buy goods and services and buy different experiences as you are on this planet right now. And as a result of this, life moved on, right? And so therefore, what is very, very important is what is going to allow our life to move on when you start inhabiting the internet. That is very, very important, right? You cannot just be on the internet, be in a room on an internet, be with a community and just move like, doing nothing or like a zombie in the internet, right? I mean, you'll get bored and you'll say, why am I even on this internet, right? I mean, it is so boring. I just don't need to be here. And so therefore, on this particular slide, what I've tried to do is I've tried to discuss how the internet has evolved and what are the cornerstones of the metaverse in the last, you will see this box section, and I'll come to that gradually. So in the 1990s, when the first version, of the internet came in, the www, it was all about internet of data gradually, right? So you basically, the Googles of the world, etc., started, really coming in. So it was all about data. You could find the data you wanted on the internet, which even continues today. And in fact, it has even become better, right? Because of the search engines, kind of really benefiting from artificial intelligence or from big data. And gradually, when you started now moving ahead, what you saw was that you moved into a zone of what is known as Internet of People, because that's when the social media came in. That's when the Facebooks of the world came in, right? And you started having a lot of social media engines out there where people started getting connected with each other despite of the distances that they were in. And as basically this entire thing moved on, the juggernaut moved on, what you really saw is that even the machines, because of the sensors prices going down, the machines started speaking to each other. So then they started exchanging data with one another. And then this data was started, getting analyzed with, kind of the algorithms, and you started getting insights into better functioning of machines. And that was all about Internet of Things. And now as these technologies have started rapidly maturing again and again and again, and that's what we see, right? These technologies have matured to that level, which is now that you are going to inhabit the internet, naturally, you would like, right, to be in the internet and the real world at the same time, because that's going to happen, right? You're going to wear maybe a headset, or you're going to go through an augmented reality app into the internet to be there or to enjoy it, but physically you are here. So now the technology allows you to be physically here, but at the same time inhabit the internet and experience it with different people in different zones. So basically, like you have nations here, like you have, different pin codes and areas here, you would of course be having different worlds in the internet, different experiences in the internet, and that's what we call as Internet of Place, right? So that is what is known as the Internet of Place. But now when you go in these experiences, so it's like this, right? So if you go in a restaurant today, or if you go in a cinema house today, naturally you would want to pay or get or buy some of these experiences. Now, naturally, if you want to buy something, either it is barter or you have to pay something. And that's where the birth and the genesis of the blockchain, has helped us a lot, because blockchains have therefore evolved as absolutely great mechanisms, along with, the algorithms which, kind of give it, the strength to allow us to now start exchanging items as we inhabit the internet. And more importantly, what happens is you can also start introducing your own list of items onto the internet. So maybe your art, your digital art, your physical art, right? You can start showcasing it on the internet and even get value for it. And so therefore, Internet of Place and Internet of Ownership now are possible. And these are the two most important cornerstones of the metaverse, which make it come to life, right? And so the Internet of Data, the Internet of People, the Internet of Things, all these will continue to remain and mature. But as gradually we enter the metaverse, you will also see the rapid maturity of Internet of Place and Internet of Ownership, because technologies which drive it are maturing very, very rapidly. So till now, what we did was we first understood the difference between what we were doing on the internet now, which is pure browsing, and now getting into inhabitation of the internet. And so therefore, once you start inhabiting anything, you would like to carry your stuff there, sell your stuff there, experience stuff there, and not by yourself, but with your family, with your community, with your peers. And that's what the metaverse is all about. And the Internet of Place and Internet of Ownership gives you the strength, and these are the cornerstones that give you the ability, to really start experiencing or inhabiting the internet. So these two slides were very important for me to kind of share with you what the metaverse is all about and what are basically its cornerstones. Now let's come to some of the very, very interesting, use cases, right? If we were to say about the Internet of Place. And here you will see a range of them, right? So if you really look at operations and maintenance, you can do remote maintenance using NVIDIA's, Omniverse digital twin platform to predict, erosion of machines, to corrosion of machines, predict when they are not going to do well, and then, arrest that, right? So this is something now a digital twin can do. Similarly, when you really look at simulations of machines, right? So imagine a situation where there are lots of engineers in a room who come together in the metaverse, have a digital twin, which is basically a digital replica of the physical machine, right? And they now want to devise all this or redesign that machine to function better. And they literally pick out parts virtually of this machine, right? And then start assembling and reassembling it together, redesigning it together to get that done again and again. And they can keep on doing these simulations till the point of time they believe that they have got to the final result in terms of productivity and efficiency. So now this part, right? So you would say, but Raghav, Teams, right? I mean, you can do this on Teams. Not really. You are not going to do this on Teams. Why? Because Teams is a two-dimensional. You can't, in a Teams setup, start playing with the digital twin of, the machine, till now at least, and then start telling an engineer, okay, now you put this particular part here, I will put this particular part here, let's see how it matches, and let's test its work, right? How it works. These are the kind of things which are really going to happen in terms of the metaverse, and actually they're happening. If you really look at some of the world's leading companies like Siemens, etc., these things are actually happening in the metaverse for them. Collaboration and training, and I think Mr. Chirag Doshi alluded to it, which is the whole dimension of virtual collaboration, right? The whole dimension of workforce training. So Striver, which is one of Accenture's partners, the kind of productivity and the retention that happens with VR-based trainings, with AR-based trainings is enormous. It's like this, right? If I start reading a storybook with a lot of pictures, we have seen in children that the retention improves dramatically. And that's why when we were children, we read storybooks like Amar Chitra Katha, etc., which had a lot of pictures and the language together. Similarly, when I put a person who is basically responsible, say, for example, electrification or the utilities company, and they want to manage the electric poles. Now, for example, if there is a situation right out there and the person does not understand how to kind of repair that pole in a given circumstances, guess what? That person can literally connect with the nerve center of the utility company or the main center of the utility company. The utility company can, on his AR or on his kind of tablet, send a whole solution. With the help of an AR or a VR headset, the person can actually feel the solution and then can even test the solution on the live pole. Now, these are the things, right, which were just unexpected before, which could not have happened before, in the Internet 1.0 or 2.0. But now with the help of the metaverse and its underlying technologies, you can do that. Placement and demos is one virtual, kind of the virtual guidance thing, right? I mean, we are literally seeing companies coming to us, asking us, to say, can you really allow me to demonstrate my product, having somebody like a virtual meet in the metaverse so that I am like 24/7 accessible to my customers. And if the customer has a problem to operate the product I have sold, then that person can come into my metaverse, understand how the product is operated, and therefore, enjoy the product seamlessly. So that is again something which is, which comes with placement and demos. And entertainment and gaming is of course a given. I mean, Daler Mehdi, I remember, was one of the first, kind of singers who actually hosted a concert in the metaverse. And for that matter, I believe Mr. Bachchan also has sold some NFTs, in the metaverse for a nice price, which of course he has donated to certain foundations. Similarly, you would have heard Mahindras of the world, the Seats of the world, getting into the metaverse and getting into this whole dimension of Internet of Place to start selling things that they have, and to kind of really get the money and of course donate it, etc., or even keep it with themselves. But where I'm coming to is this whole dimension of the metaverse, right, which is about live, kind of understanding, live doing it, right, is amazing. And this is something which really gets value to companies right there. So these were some of the use cases for Internet of Place. So now, of course, our Internet of Location. Now let us go, kind of look at Internet of Ownership. And here, of course, there is the whole dimension of collectibles, which is an NFTs. So what do you mean by NFTs? So non-fungible tokens basically are tokens essentially that cannot be, they are unique. They cannot be divided or subdivided, right? It's not like gold to say, you can put 10 grams, 1 gram, 0.5 grams, etc. of gold, right? But so these are non-indivisible tokens which can be exchanged, as value. And let me tell you, I mean, it is just amazing. And you would say, but rather these are like, these appear to be like pictures. And why do people value even these pictures? Why do people value a virtual, kind of a an artifact? Why do people value this bag which Gucci sold for several of thousands of dollars? And the whole point there is you really need to understand that people are now, because they want to inhabit the internet, they cannot. So imagine going into the internet with your physical wallet, right? It can't happen. I need something to carry with my avatar, which is my virtual self, into the internet. I need to hold something, right, as a wallet or a bag. Right, and I wouldn't be surprised if the baggage companies in this country, like VIP or the other companies, right, would actually start getting into the a metaverse and start introducing digital rucksacks, etc., which is bound to happen. By the way, I know one entity which has already filed a patent for digital bandage. Okay, and that is done why? Because if you are in the metaverse and if you are in Decentraland, and if you are in one of the parts of Decentraland, and if you're skiing or mountaineering or whatever, and if you fall, then your avatar might require a digital bandage, and you will be then having it one, and you can, of course, use it. Now, you would say, but Raghav, isn't this like waste of money? It isn't. It isn't actually. Because what is happening is that there is, and I will come to the data points later, that there is a huge bulge of youngsters, what we call as Gen Zs, waiting to lead a virtual life, waiting to drive value virtually, waiting to enjoy value virtually. And as a result of that, all these companies are, doing, merchandising, collectibles, real estate in the metaverse. And all this, for us, right, who have always been really brass tags, what we call, right, kind of really seeing value. We need to feel value. We need to kind of see it. We need to, enjoy it right now, right? A lot of us who are in that generation kind of start questioning all this. But let me tell you, if today you are a 35-year-old, and if you have a son and daughter or a daughter and who are into gaming, they are not going to ask you for pocket money anymore. They are going to ask you for currencies with which they can trade and buy things in the metaverse, right? So it could be in the, in the what we call in the Minecraft, right? It could be a Minecraft-based currency. If it is Decentraland, it would be a Decentraland-based currencies. So essentially, a lot of this new generation, right, which is 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds, when they are going to grow now, a lot of the transactions and the life that they would be living is virtually. And guess what? This consequential question that comes to me is that, isn't that really going to make the generation go mad? Are they not going to get more and more isolated and, suffer with a lot of these kind of, compulsions and, kind of anxiety attacks, etc.? Well, ask the same question to yourselves. Most of us are glued to our cell phones, I think, more than 6 hours a day. Don't our parents also say that? And don't we tell them that, I'm doing my work, on my cell phone. I'm just not seeing, the TikToks or, the other things. Right? I'm also working. And that's exactly the answer, the Gen Zs is going to give you. That, mom and dad and, my dear boss, I'm just not here for the purpose of being in Decentraland and attending a music concert here. I'm also interacting with my other colleagues, virtually, and trying to understand the problem. And they are trying to understand my problem, and we are all trying to solve it together. And this is going to be the beauty of the metaverse. As you can see, I'm trying to debunk some of the myths and, address some of the questions that you may actually ask me at the end of the session. But I think this is very, very important, because most of the time people have a lot of misconceptions about the metaverse, and this is one thing, I put as a very interesting example. So think about it this way, guys, in the sense that we all think, right, that the metaverse is going to cause a lot of these problems for your eyes, etc., etc. But think about it this way, that tomorrow there are a number of people, right, who require a lot of help. They need to go, and there are people with, disabilities. There are people who are, suffering with problems of substances. There are people who are into various kind of problems, psychological. And many of these people do not want themselves to be visible physically, either to their psychiatrist, to their therapist, or even in the communities that they get together. They're very afraid of making themselves visible. They can't be open. They can't talk about their problems. Now, the metaverse provides them a solution. Why? Because they can go with their avatar in the metaverse, be with the community, share their problem more openly in the Internet of Place, in some of these locations that will happen, and then get a solution. And as a result of that, their problems might be even solved faster. They might even feel better and lighter because they've shared their problem with somebody, and as a result of which the metaverse then becomes a boon for them. So it's finally how you put things to use, right? It's always that way. But where I'm coming to is that don't think about it as one more technology. Think about it as a way of living, as a way which is completely different, and as a way that you will spend not only time and energy, but that you will make it become better. Because finally, the metaverse is all going to be about technologies, etc. But who will build the metaverse and who will make it a better place is us and our communities. So that is a given. So till now, again, we discussed what the metaverse is. We spoke about its inhabitation. We spoke about its pillars, which is the Internet of Place or Internet of Location and Internet of Ownership. Now we have discussed a few use cases. And now, therefore, let's move ahead in terms of, if Raghav, you're telling us all this stuff, right? If there is all this flurry of activity which is happening in the metaverse, why is there a sense of confusion, uncertainty, etc., which is about the metaverse? And which is the truth. I mean, I will not deny, I speak to a number of C-level executives every month, trying to bust the myths, and also, not giving them a very, very, kind of a hyped up picture because that's not my job. We tell them the reality as to where the value lies in the metaverse. And so therefore now let's look at some of these things, which is that why is there a sense of confusion? And so what are some of the questions, right, that come to me when I am discussing, about the metaverse? And I'm sure these are some of the questions that come to you too, as practitioners, and even, you kind of see them every day glaring in front of you when the executives you talk to, or the companies that you consult, or the companies where you are a chartered accountant, they want to go into the metaverse. So what are some of these questions? How do I really know what my customers want? What's the value that I can get immediately? How do I monetize my experiences? Are the companies who are doing, who are, kind of in the metaverse securing any value? What is a real immersive experience? Is it got to be only with the headsets, or can it happen without the headsets? How do I, evolve my experiences in the metaverse? These are all the questions, I'm sure, which are on the top of your mind too, and which you are, grappling with as you move into the metaverse. And of course, why do these questions remain unanswered is because naturally, there is a lack of clear, return on investment metrics in the context of the metaverse and its probable use cases. There is limited knowledge, because we really don't see the metaverse natives around us as we see mobile users, right? Everybody around us is a mobile user. So we understand the psyche of each one, right? We understand each other pretty well. But till now, metaverse is, millions, kind of a couple of 100, 200, 300 millions, right? 400, 500 millions at, max maybe. But it's not really crossing that 2 billion, 1 billion usership, which of course will happen over a period of time. I mean, when we all had cell phones and when the calls were costing 100 rupees a minute, not many of us had it, right? But now that, cell phones, the calls are free and the data is so cheap, practically everybody in India uses it. So therefore, limited knowledge about these natives, limited knowledge about estimating how to enter the market, etc., kind of really is an impediment to even address these questions. Technologies, right? Technologies, naturally, because a lot of us have invested in a lot of other technologies to begin with. So there are silos, there is a legacy issue there, the whole problem about, technology maturing much more faster than the skill sets, etc. And then, of course, the larger issues of policies and standards and regulations, which are so different across different countries. So is my transaction in crypto valid in a certain geography X? Will it be invalid in a certain geography Y? So will my company therefore have to file 2 returns? What's going to happen? Where is it going to happen? A lot of that persists. So naturally, and this happens with any technology, right? I mean, the UPI, or for that matter, when the Aadhaar came in, or for that matter, the payment system started, a lot of the same questions were there in front of us. But as the systems matured, as it scaled, a lot of these questions started vanishing and we got the answers, right? So I think these are some of the things that we will get gradually answers to, but, will happen. Similarly, the crypto, and we've heard a lot about, the crashes and the hypes and, a lot of things happening. But I can tell you one thing, despite all these crypto, and I know that, crypto is a very controversial topic, and I'm not going to deal a lot with that today because I'm not a crypto expert per se. But the point is that in the context of the crypto, even though the cryptocurrency as such, right, it has suffered, and it has gone a lot below from the original hype level, what we are seeing is that the token economy hasn't suffered. We are actually seeing a lot of companies issue non-fungible tokens in different forms, right? And come out and actually start trading with them. And one of the things, right? It's a very funny thing, and some of the examples, right? I mean, and I come to that to say why, therefore, and I'll come to some of the examples after this particular slide. So naturally, you would say that you've told us that, despite having that confusion, despite having all that, we are seeing a host of companies actually moving forward, despite the current confusion and uncertainty. And why does it happen? Because they clearly see that the metaverse will leave no part of the business, workforce, and customers untouched. I repeat, business, enterprise, workforce, and customers. This is very, very important. Hardly was there a moment in the history when we actually could say this confidently in an audience to say here is something that is not only going to be productive for that enterprise, it is also going to be valuable for the customer. It is also going to be equally valuable for the workforce. And this is really going to change the way I do my business, the way I work, and the way I actually experience, kind of fun, joy, entertainment, etc. And so therefore, customer experience, right? We spoke about this a lot, the immersive experiences, the products you make. Imagine, as I said, right, you sitting with a digital twin of a fan, right? Where the product design team, the innovation team, the suppliers, the accountants, everybody sitting together in the metaverse and then designing a product that is not only efficient, great, productive, customer friendly. You can even get the customers in there and say, now you experience this product and tell us immediately how it works, and therefore integrate their views. The accountants can tell you, you know what, this is a great product. Everything is great, but you know what? The costing is really going out of the world. Now, therefore, what are you going to do about that? These materials are pretty expensive. Similarly, once the product is launched in the metaverse, right? How am I going to get paid for it? So that's where the payment system comes in. And therefore, then what happens is that essentially, if this was a part of the B2C or the customer part of it, the whole dimension of the employee experience, trainings, kind of get-togethers. At Accenture, we have our innovation awards. We call them the V360 Innovation Awards. We did not do them physically this year. We actually called all our winners into the metaverse, and sections of Accenture, which could not have possibly, kind of made it to these awards, etc., now could participate in these V360 awards. Why? Because that's how, we really kind of celebrated it and people were there. Our top management celebrated Diwali in the metaverse, bursting firecrackers, by the way. So you can actually do that. And guess what? One of the best things that as a company we have done, and which is something where, our people, and we really are proud of, is during COVID, we really kind of gave our people not only a Teams-based experience, we actually made them join Accenture. And this is more than 100,000 people got oriented about Accenture, its core values, about what they have to do in the metaverse. We call it the new joiner orientation or the project avatar in Accenture. And this is a massive, massive thing. You know what happened as a result of what we did in the metaverse? The talent joining us became our brand ambassadors. They started talking about us on LinkedIn, saying that, what, I've joined such a cool company that gave me my new avatar. And this is something which is going to be game-changing. You as chartered accountant firms, you as, entities, and some of you are very huge, I'm aware of that, you want to attract the best of talent. Now, if you want to attract and retain the best of talent, you really need to look technologically cool. You just can't say, I'm going to give you the best client, and I'm going to, kind of the best environment to work in. But imagine now giving them the technological environment and then, going there and saying, guess what? Now, as an avatar, you can come, the Ahmedabad office, the Mumbai office, the Bhubaneswar office, all these offices can come together, celebrate things in the metaverse, celebrate your problem in the metaverse, celebrate your solution in the metaverse. And you can do that as much of many times as you want. And guess what? Once you've created this environment in the metaverse, you don't need to pay for it. People can get there with their virtual snacks. They can have their virtual, kind of drinks. They can have and soft drinks or whatever, tea or coffee. They can, basically do a lot of these things virtually. And so therefore, you are not only enabling collaboration, but you are also saving costs associated with it. And that's the power of the metaverse. The supply chain dimension of it. The supply chains are going to become so transparent and collaborative, right? Because now you can get the suppliers in there and they can start now looking at your entire value chain and say, you know what, you want to design this product in a certain fashion, but I don't think I have the material to do this. So I may need, 5 more weeks to really do this. And it's so nice that you now know during your design stage of a product that the supplier cannot give you this for the next 5 weeks, because imagine if you were to design and keep things ready and wait for the supplier's material, you would have lost, that time, right? So your machinery is lying idle, your people are, staying idle, and you're losing time to market entry because suddenly the supplier starts telling you that he doesn't or she doesn't have the material. So these are the kind of things, right, that now start becoming instantaneous. They become real time. They make you more agile and continuous. And that's why metaverse becomes inevitable. Also think about it this way, right? As I said, in the context, as humans, right? When we see each other, it's always a spatial view, right? Some of the worst things that we hate about, kind of the internet today, or the screens that we see, we always say, oh my God, this is all two-dimensional. I cannot see the depth of this picture. I cannot see, I cannot really enjoy it, because the human excitement, the human experience is all about spatiality. It's all about three-dimensionality and multidimensionality. And that's what metaverse allows you to do as a human too, because it allows you to go virtually in a world and experience the multidimensionality of that universe along with the physical universe, making it therefore as an inevitable experience. So that's where things are. And people recognize this. One of the things, that we are seeing through our surveys, recurrent surveys again and again, is that people, executives, right? So this is what we call as a C-level survey that Accenture has been doing for years. And our recurrent surveys are showing that essentially metaverse is really going to impact the organization's future plan. The numbers, the very important numbers are remaining the same. You would say, but Raghav, there is a slight decrease from 59 to 55. These numbers of 4% are actually post the hype, So a lot of these things just go during the hype, but post the hype, naturally numbers are a bit lower. But what is very interesting, that around 90% of the executives across the two cycles still continue to say that the organization's future growth plans are going to be influenced by the metaverse. And so therefore, why do you think businesses are actually saying that, right? And this is where I was coming to. We did a very interesting consumer pulse survey in about February to April timeframe of 2022 of about 11,000 consumers in 16 countries. And guess what? We asked them, what is their usage and interest in virtual products and experiences? And you will see essentially that there is a resounding set of consumers who want to lead a virtual life and who are ready, to plan and purchase these experiences in the next 12 months, right? It's amazing the kind of readiness, therefore, that the consumers are showing to shop in the virtual world, to entertain themselves in the virtual world, to test fashions in the virtual world. And only for these reasons, right, do you see actually a lot of these metaverse related, kind of applications and Shopifys of the world, coming up, where you can actually stand there, have your own dimensionality, the physical dimensionality exactly reflected, test the dress right there, right? And then, of course, come out and say, oh, no, I don't think it suits me, so therefore I should buy something else. That is what is happening now. That's reality. And guess what? This is not only going to happen for you as yourself. Now your avatar, you can go about shopping for it in the metaverse, you customizing your avatar the way you want it. There are many people who don't want to, kind of be themselves the way they are, right? Many of us want to be seen in different worlds in different ways. So if I'm on a football ground, I want to be seen differently. If I'm in a cinema house, I want to be seen differently. If I'm in my office, of course, I want to be seen more professional and differently. So a lot of that, right? But guess what? In everyday life, we can't afford to change clothes like every 25 minutes or every 30 minutes. But your avatar can do that in the virtual world, right? You can always keep a clothing set ready for your avatar. And if you're going from Minecraft to Decentraland, maybe you want your avatar to be dressed differently, right? Of course, you will say, but rather, I can't take my avatar from one, experience to the other. That continues to be a problem, and people are working towards it. But surely, even at least within that one experience of Decentraland or Minecraft, from different environments, you can clothe your avatar differently because you want to be seen in a different way in different communities. I'm sure, right, for marriages, you don't go, with the same clothes that you wear for office, right? Because that marriage is a very different experience. Office is a very different experience. And I need to be dressing up differently for those two different experiences to be appreciated by my community. And that's what exactly you're going to do when you inhabit the virtual world, in the metaverse. And so therefore, how are companies beginning to explore this opportunity, right? Very clearly, we are seeing, the services experiences and the product experiences taking the roots, right? I mean, it's a big retail, Walmarts of the world, all the major, the chains in the world are there in the metaverse. All the major, like the Zaras of the world, etc., are in the metaverse. You will see the Gucci's, even the L'Oreal's of the world entering the metaverse. The major what we call car companies, right, are in the metaverse, right? In fact, some of the car companies are not even launching their new models physically. They are actually launching it in the metaverse so that the consumers in the metaverse can do virtual rides, tell them what's right, what's wrong, feel it that way, and give them an input so that when the real vehicle comes in, these guys could have actually improved its performance, etc., etc. So a lot of this is now started happening. And as you can see, barring industries like aerospace and defense or industrial, maybe, essentially a lot of companies are really looking for doing services experiences and products experiences into the metaverse. And of course, the enterprise metaverse, as I said, largely remains a priority for industries such as aerospace and defense, or for that matter, somebody like, airline, travel and transport, etc. So, but the reality, people have already started exploring. And that is something which is evident from this particular chart, where you can see that 100 plus brands have actually entered the metaverse in the last 12 months. 100 plus brands. And you would say, this, and isn't this like amazing in the sense like, we all keep on shying away. We all keep on trying to think that, oh, is this real, etc., etc. But people have already entered the metaverse. Let me give you some examples of how people have made money. And this is my favorite example, which is Tiffany. So Tiffany is, as you know, Tiffany & Co. is a jewelry entity. And guess what? They actually found a very wealthy community in the metaverse called CryptoPunks. Basically, these are the individuals in the community which hold a lot of crypto, assets, and very valuable ones. And so therefore, Tiffany, designed an entire bracelet for them with their, kind of avatars, etc., and said, we will do it for you in a manner with these number of gemstones, etc., etc. And they did all this. And guess what? Within a day, they sold worth 13 million of these kind of pieces. That's huge. That's really huge. So essentially, you will see that even for that matter, one of the largest, auto companies in India, when they were wanting to do a particular launch of their, car, they decided to go to the metaverse and launch it as an NFT. And guess what? The NFT was actually, when the bidding happened for that NFT, people paid exactly the same amount, in fact, a little bit higher than the physical price, the real price of the physical asset that they would drive on the road after it was ready from that auto company. And of course, the auto company then donated it, to a foundation. But where I'm coming to is that none of what I was saying, right, is unreal anymore. It is real. People are designing vehicles, people are designing fashion, people are wanting to create new experiences. And guess what? You would say, but Raghav, is there any immediate value? Yes, there is immediate value. Because a lot of these companies, what are they doing is, they are trying to understand the future consumers, the Gen Z consumers that I was speaking about earlier, which are trying to lead a virtual life in the internet, which want to do things in the internet, inhabit it, be there, stay there, have friends there, enjoy and party there, etc., learn there, etc. So therefore, these companies are actually being ready for that revolution that is going to happen. So they are what I call evolving, or there is an evolution happening at their level to, kind of really brace the revolution that is going to happen in consumerism 5 or 6 years down the line. And so therefore, let's see how companies are actually making value. Here is an example. So in Accenture, we don't look at value only financially. And here you will see, I've taken an example of a South Korean company called SK Telecom, which is actually, South Korea is really the hub of metaverse. It is one of the first countries, and I'll come to the countries dimension of it, but it is one of the first countries which has really gone into the metaverse, wants to do a digital twin of Seoul and, other cities, etc. And so therefore, all this is really happening big time, in South Korea. And SK Telecom is at, the forefront of it. So therefore, it launched, it's called as a, kind of a metaverse platform called IFLAND, which actually allows it. So it has launched its own platform called IFLAND. Its employees, kind of get trained in the metaverse. Guess what? They have inclusive design approaches. So IFLAND offers a number of virtual avatars and, enables users to customize these avatars using a total, kind of more than 500 different virtual items. So they've got all these virtual items there. Essentially, Ifland has already, what we call monthly average users of more than 1.35 million the last time we saw it. And more importantly, it has set a very strong commercial target in terms of revenue that it needs to get. And in terms of sustainability, in terms of environment, it is trying to now combine the power of AI, the stable blockchains, etc., to really get to doing things in the metaverse in a much more sustainable manner. So where I'm coming to is what we were talking about in the last couple of minutes, or more than a couple of minutes, I would say, is reality. And therefore, you will see that, the whole dimension of ROIs, right, which was one of the problems that was cited by some of the executives, Ifland has already started looking at ROIs, right? Downloads, brand partnerships, volume of NFTs, monthly average users, return on metaverse-related investments. These are some of the things that, people are seeing. And if you can actually even go to some of the web pages on LinkedIn or even, articles that you'll read, people have started publishing using their own calculation methods to show how companies which are into, accessories, companies which are into sports goods, companies who are retailers have already started gaining royalties from the NFTs that they have created and sold and which are getting resold, etc. So a lot of that revenue has started, kind of coming into companies. And so essentially the point is, which are some of the largest industries where we are seeing a lot of action? And as I said, they're automotive, they're banking, they're comms and media, they're consumer goods and services, public service. I mean, look at the Middle East today. If you look at UAE, if you look at Saudi Arabia, they are looking to the metaverse as their new identity. Energy, they realize that energy, and especially the oil-based energy, is not an identity that they would like to wear and move forward in the Gen Z era, in an era where talent is going to look at different value systems, right? They're not essentially going to weigh you commercially, but they're going to look at you to say, how sustainable are you? How inclusive are you? How diverse are you? So therefore now, guess what? These, kind of Middle Eastern nations are starting to invest heavily into the metaverse. You can think about NEOM. You can think about, the Metaverse Academy, which has been created in of course, Seoul, but by South Korea, but also the Metaverse museums, etc., and the Metaverse initiatives in the UAE, which are happening. So a lot of these actions are happening at the level of governments too, right? Which are trying to therefore engage, their own people in the metaverse. While I speak, diplomacy is happening in the metaverse. People in the United Nations are experimenting with virtual reality to understand what would it mean if certain scenarios were to actually happen, if countries don't come to a consensus, maybe around climate change or maybe around security issues, etc. So when we are talking about all this, we are actually seeing this happen in the context of the metaverse. And then you would say, so how does this all add up to, right? So if there are so many companies that are coming into the metaverse, hundreds of them as large companies, here is how the metaverse ecosystem is building up to support them. So from an experience standpoint, you can see right from, Netflixes of the world, to Blocktopia, to Life, to Spatial, etc., to Tencent, etc. Economy, Decentralized. So this is a place where you can exchange goods, where you can sell and buy things. So Zapito, you can buy clothing for your avatars, etc. Digital identity, that's about the OpenSea, the liquid avatars, etc. The software and platforms bit, which are going to support all this in a very big way. So that is again something that you're seeing Meta, Striver, Apple of the world, coming there. And of course, then the infrastructure, which is the, the blockchain infrastructure that would be required, as well as other infrastructures that would be required to drive value in the metaverse, where you can even see the likes of Samsungs and the T-Mobiles and the Verizons playing the role. Right. So that's where, basically what I needed to say. And the last bit is about chartered accountants. And some of this, has already been covered by Mr. Doshi. And I would just reiterate it. I mean, one of the biggest things which is going to happen is what are going to be the generally accepted accounting and reporting principles about transactions in the metaverse, right? That's going to be like a very, very big issue that needs to be addressed. And I'm sure you guys are already working towards it. The right processes, the right audit systems about, what value means, the notion of visible value, invisible value, value that is, auditable, value that cannot be audited maybe in certain circumstances. What does that mean? identification of, the credible and legal growth opportunities. I mean, there are, so say, for example, I know, for example, companies whose, kind of accountants and CFOs have advised them not to do businesses with certain crypto platforms or with certain metaverse platforms because of the fact that they have their headquarters in, locations as Bahamas, etc. Right? So those are the kind of things that are going to come up. Quantification of risks, that's like a very big thing, right? So if you are going to deal with, or if you're going to make such an investment, which is millions of dollars in the metaverse, what is the risk associated with that? What is the cyber risk associated with that? And how do you then manage these risks? Similarly, making on establishing the digital payments ecosystems with the technologists, helping build token economies and the right way, right? So essentially helping people define. So if I sell an NFT, which is, the virtual replica of an automobile, do I get the right to the physical automobile also when it gets sold? Or is it only the virtual replica that I have rights to? Can it be traded? Can it be sold? Can it be rented? Can it be, hoarded? A lot of these things need to be talked about. And that's where chartered accountants are going to be very important. And most importantly, I think you as a community have a huge role to play as the global, communities start coming together in building the regulation and cooperation, across the different legal regimes around the metaverse. So a lot of this is very, very important. And then some of the case studies, right, which I believe are going to be very valuable. And some of this, again, was discussed by Mr. Doshi, which is near real-time immersive learning at scale, where different professionals can come together, students can come together and share solutions as well as their perspectives and problems real time. You can create an environment. So BCAS can actually create an environment, and their annual meetings can take place in the metaverse, in the lounges that they create, right? In a setting that would be fantastic. And this could be done, in a more immersive and a minimal cost, right? The whole dimension of upskilling and certification. The whole dimension there is about, you can, with the help of AI, right? So if you have an accounting problem, I can use my algorithms to keep on redefining that accounting problem in so many different ways so that I can give the same problem to 50 different people at the same time to test their skills and, really upskill them. And then guess what? These people can also do it from the comfort of their houses whenever they want and seek their certifications at their own pace. And their certificates need not be distributed, in terms of paper. You can save a lot of paper that way. You can actually put them as NFTs on blockchains and give them as awards on blockchains. And similarly, people can open lounges in the metaverse, especially nodal institutions such as the BCAS or anyone else, because there are a number of issues where you really don't want to spend a lot of time, valuable time of your people, like answering what the syllabus is. There are small little things about forms, which people need to understand. Especially from, people who are far away. They don't want to come, they don't want to spend money coming back to the regional office to really understand, what's happening, etc. Or, even solve their issues, which may be very meager at times. But they need to come today so that, they get a final answer. Imagine doing this in the metaverse, saving time and money for the people who want to, experience your facilities, who want to, be your members, who want to be future chartered accountants. And by the way, you then help not only them and yourselves by saving human time, but you also help them because you're making them more sustainable. You don't allow them to travel, so you don't allow them to consume fuel. And by sitting at the virtual in their houses, they can do this virtually in the metaverse. So this is all, kind of what I had to kind of share. Very happy to take, questions from you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Raghav. I would definitely like to thank Raman Jokakar for introducing you to us. A full 45 to 50 minutes of power-packed, session on metaverse, and it reminds me of only one, old dialogue of Mr. Bachchan, which is, I can talk English, I can walk English, I can, laugh English, I can run English. So it's like metaverse, and it's wonderfully explained, I think, language we would have had, and definitely it opens up a lot of avenues for accountants to look into and start thinking and brainstorming about, this new technology, which is for real as well. So With this, I would like to hand over the proceedings to CA Nikunj Shah. He's convener of our technology committee, and he would continue with Q&A as well as forthcoming event announcement and then formal vote.
Yeah. Thank you, Chirag Bhai, for the introduction. And Raghavji, indeed, it was a pleasure to hear you on Metaverse. Before I propose a formal vote of thanks, I would like to share with participants the forthcoming events, which are as interesting as this lecture meeting, and they can look out for. On 15th December, Thursday, the HRD Study Circle has organized a study circle meeting on the reality and depth of homeopathy. There is Income Tax Ki Pathshala on 2nd, 4th, 6th, 9th, 11th, 18th, 20th, 23rd, 25th, and 30th of January. Tarang, which is one of the most exciting events, especially for young students, is scheduled on 8th of January. The National Youth Day on 12th of January 2023. Leadership Workshop on 14th and 15th of January. Workshop on penalties under Income Tax Act on Thursday, 19th January. Training workshop for young qualified chartered accountants on 3rd, 4th, 10th, and 11th of February. The RRC, 56th RRC, which is one of the most sought after course and a flagship event of Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, is scheduled on Thursday to Sunday, 23rd to 26th February, and the 10th Youth RRC on 17th and 19th of March 2023. That's about the forthcoming events. I would now like to take some question and answers, which we have already received in the question and answer sessions. Raghavji, I'm quite hopeful that you would oblige us with your wisdom on the questions that some participants have. I will take them one by one for your kind consideration. Sir, I hope we can spare about 5 to 8 minutes for these question answers.
Absolutely, no worries.
Thank you, Raghavji.
I've basically, kind of seen the questions while you were proposing, or discussing these events. And I think many of them, right? I mean, the whole point is, I see that basically Metaverse in simple language. I think I've tried my level best to describe Metaverse in a very simple language, in a language. And once again, Dilip ji, or, the whole dimension about, the whole dimension about, the simplest way to say is, today I'm on a keyboard trying to enjoy the internet. Imagine you getting into the screen on the other side with your avatar and now being a part of the internet. That's the simplest way I would say it. It's like, now you are actually you're going to take yourself virtually inside the screen, and you are going to enjoy a concert. You could possibly see a movie together or a football match together. Actually, there are parties in the, FIFA is organizing these parties actually, kind of that, people can come together, they can, do these parties, they can watch football matches together and, enjoy things. By the way, when you're doing this, a lot of the brands are using these parties now to advertise their products, right? So what is happening is, because now these watch parties, right?
Wow.
They are their new virtual arenas. So you don't need banners anymore on roads, right? These watch parties are going to be your virtual arenas where you can advertise your
so that's the immersive experience that we are really looking forward to.
Exactly. No, it's happening, by the way.
It's happening.
It's happening. Now, the level of immersion which is now going to happen as I speak is something which is very different, which is the fact that this level of immersion is that now if I go to a banner, right? Suppose there is an ABC company whose banner I see in the watch party. And if I click on that banner, right, if I click now, what in the physical banner you can't click, right? I can't go and climb that goddamn thing and say, I can't do that, right? But in this virtual banner, I can click on that banner, I can order stuff on that banner, and guess what? They can even allow you to redesign a certain product the way you want. That is the level at which the immersion is. And that's what I'm saying. It's at a very different level. The world is going to function at a very different level. How are we as professionals going to evolve to kind of address this is a matter of our own evolution. So, that's one of the things. Kind of in terms of concept of how these illustrations such as predictions of corrosion can be explained. As I said, right, what happens is, and let me explain to you. So suppose you have, you imagine that you have a turbine. Okay, you have a turbine. Now the point is there are, so once you have a turbine in a physical format, you actually create an absolute digital replica of this turbine, like literally inch to inch, dot to dot, spec to spec. That is known as the digital twin. Now what happens in this digital twin is that, Mr. Mehta, is that in this digital twin, you are then going to make that turbine run at a certain speed, right? You can actually do that. Now, if the turbine runs at a certain speed, now imagine doing it physically. Now you want to accelerate it, it will break. And then the whole investment is gone. But you want to run the turbine at an optimal speed. You don't want to run it too slow. You don't want to run it too fast, etc., whatever, right? Or that machine that you are building, you want it at an optimal speed to function. Now, you don't need to waste all that cash on your physical machine. The digital twin of that machine will allow you to understand what is the optimal velocity with which this can happen. What is the wind speed of, which will allow the turbine to, or whatever, the other things are, right? So the point is that now this digital replica saves you valuable resources, right? The valuable iron ore, steel, etc., which would have gone into the turbine, and then you would have made even a prototype. That prototype would have broken. But now here, I can keep on simulating, right? And then when I do that simulation, so imagine now there is water which is supposed to be flowing over the turbine, right? If the turbine is in a hydropower electric, kind of a situation. So now if that is going to happen, then in that kind of a situation, guess what? If that is going to happen, there is corrosion. Now you will be able to know that after so much amount of water flow that is going to happen on the digital will start telling you of that thing. Oh, you know what? Guess what? Now my ability to take the next, whatever gallons of water is limited because now I will start corroding. This is my limit. This is where my erosion will start taking place. A lot of these simulations can be done on the digital twin, and that's how you benefit. So that was, one of the questions about, how these things function. In terms of online shopping, Amazon, etc., Internet Explorer, where should one go? Okay, so there are, you can always, browse and ask for, in terms of, the virtual shopping, right? So you can just type, Nike Metaverse, etc., or maybe Adidas Metaverse, etc., and you will see, they will take you to the sites, because I don't know exactly, I can't type things right now, virtually here, but it's very easy to get into the metaverse. The point is, and which is I'm going to answer a question here. People would say, but Raghav, will I require a headset, to really immerse myself into that experience? Well, currently, yes. Over a period of time, no. Right? Let me be honest about it. Currently, yes, because I can even do metaverse two-dimensionally today, but my level of immersion may not be so high, right? But if you wear a headset today, yeah, the level of immersion would be very high. But over a period of time, let me tell you, essentially people are building specs, they are building goggles, etc., which will be like your ordinary spectacles, which will allow you to be in the metaverse. So it is something which is going to be a part of your body anymore. Tomorrow, you might even, kind of see, contact lenses, for the metaverse. I wouldn't be surprised, right? It is not surprising at all. And so these are some of the things that are going to happen, which will allow us to experience the metaverse far more immersively, right? How to be part of a metaverse? Well, there are several experiences. You can type Minecraft, you can get into a Minecraft. And by the way, Minecraft is now a part of many school syllabuses because they allow students to understand how to solve a problem by thinking about it. So you can by the way, one piece of advice, we may not be knowing about it, or maybe your children have not spoken to you about it, But maybe after this lecture today and a discussion, you might want to talk to your child to say, do you know about the metaverse? What are the games you're playing there? And you know what? They will tell you, Dad, take this, headset and join me in the game. You will be in the metaverse automatically. So don't worry about being in the metaverse. I'm sure many of your children are already there. They are the best guides for you when you get there. Video calling, right? I mean, how is it different from video calling? The whole point is video calling today, you can't feel things. I was doing a very interesting thing, and this is something which Accenture is putting together, which we call it the Aromaverse. So imagine today, I cannot travel because of my age, but I have a grandchild sitting in the US, right? Who I want to meet on the birthday, right? I want to meet her on her birthday, and she's my grandchild. And so therefore, what is happening is that I cannot travel because of my age, and as a result of my inability to travel, but I really want to give her a bouquet of roses. Now, guess what? I can be in the metaverse, give her a virtual bouquet of roses, and with the Aromaverse that we are talking about, she can even get the aroma in the metaverse, from those bouquet of roses. That's the power of the metaverse. When I told this, when I kind of, showed this as an experiment to one of the very senior bankers of this country, he was in tears. So very clearly, what is happening is that these are the iterations of this. You can't do on a Teams call. You at the most, you can say, I'm virtually felicitating you. And what we'll do, you will show me that you're giving me something which I will never receive. Simple as that, right? But there in the metaverse, you will actually feel the bucket. You can sense its aroma, and you can feel satisfied. So that is something, which will be very interesting. And then the last questions which are coming out is, digital twin I've held, regular updates on metaverse. Well, regular updates on metaverse and Web3, there are several websites. I don't typically recommend any because, you really don't know which ones are, legitimate, etc. But on LinkedIn, there are many influencers that you can really, look forward to. You can, link with me. That's very clear. You can start following my posts on LinkedIn. There are a couple of others which I will also allude to in my LinkedIn handle. So naturally, you will start seeing them too. But any grouping of metaverse, well, I think what you can do is you can, as BCAS members, some of you can really start getting into the metaverse, right? Get on Decentraland, get on some of these experiences, try doing things together, and that will happen. Do you mean that metaverse will accurately follow the laws of physics? My physics is not so great, but I can tell you that to a large extent, they will follow the laws of physics in a very big way. Because let me tell you, the environments that get created, today follow, imagine that these environments that are getting created, right? They're so tough to create. You have to feel as if you're climbing a mountain. In spatial, if I go on a pyramid, I have to feel that I'm actually scaling a pyramid and on the top of it, and then seeing other pyramids around me, right? It's not easy to, kind of build all these environments together. And that's the reason why you need to understand physics, creativity, drawing, a lot of that kind of, things when you do the metaverse. That's it. I think I've addressed most of the questions, which I could see,
Indeed. Thank you so very much for responding to every single question that was asked here. Raghavji, I like the way you corrected me when I said that going forward, we are going to experience this, and you said, Nikunj, metaverse is now. Exactly. It is not going forward. It is now. Chiragji, to put 2 points together, when we say that, yes, metaverse is now, I think we should start taking help of professionals. Raghavji is here, and I'm sure he will oblige us to take at least some of our training and development into the metaverse for an enriching and a real learning experience. Raghavji, we at Bombay Chartered Accountant Society do so many trainings, do so many events. We earlier used to do physically, now we do them virtually, and we are at a point where we do them what we called in a hybrid mode, where people can come physically as well and virtually as well. But we have not really ventured beyond this. If metaverse is now and training and development is at your point number 2, then we would like to take help of professionals like you to take BCS learning and development experience to the next level for our members, and then even extend it to our non-members. Do you believe, Raghuvji, this is possible?
Very much possible. I think it's just kind of, as I said, right? You should try and pilot a few things. We can surely, I can talk to some of my colleagues. If there are resources which are available and made available to us, we can surely create the right experiences for you. There's no two thoughts on that at all. But the point is, don't get disillusioned if there are few participants to begin with. Because I can tell you, things don't work the way we want with technology. With technology, I mean, even cell phones, right? Cell phones, I can vouch for it. We don't even use 50% of the facilities that are there on our cell phones even today, right? Even if we say that I know how to use my gadgets so very well, etc. Your child may know it far better, right? That's where I'm coming from. And so therefore, I think what would be very interesting is, I would in fact go ahead and say, why doesn't BCAS invite its own members, right? And say, which of your children can volunteer and design a game for us to solve in the BCAS? Do that kind of a championship with the students, with your own kids. And I can tell you, this would be a fantastic thing. And you can then do the prize distribution of this in the metaverse. But if you if you kind of do this as to say, BCAS is very keen to solve these problems, or maybe wants to hold an event. Come on, guys, we give you an open challenge as, kind of students and as kids that, help us do this on a decentralized land or whatever, etc. Excuse me. They can surely help you. But do this like, the reason I'm saying this is, this will enthuse your own, community in a very different way. Rather than coming to, professionals and, all that, it always is great to build solutions from the community, because you will own it automatically. That's the ownership feeling comes to it very automatically.
Right. Raghuvji, thank you so much for your time today. Your very lucid and simple explanation of a complex topic like metaverse was really, really enlightening. And I'm sure that BCS, I'm personally being the convener of the Tech Eye Committee, I'm very keen to take this ahead to its logical next step. And we are going to fall back on you for your kind help in this regards. With this, I propose a hearty vote of thanks to Raghuvji, and would request all the participants to carry out with a loud applause, albeit online. We look forward to an immersive experience where we can hear this applause from every single participant and see the smiles on their faces. Until then, thank you, everybody. Do have a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you and Jai Hind. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.